Hey guys, so today is November 16th, 2021, and I am going to be catching up on the daily progress summary videos that I have not done here for the last week or so because I was so busy moving and I also didn't have internet. Now, I've been recording most of my videos here using Zoom because we have Bible studies and stuff, and I'm used to the interface and it's convenient for recording compressed MP4 files that I then don't have to go back and compress myself and all of these sorts of things. So I have been recording in Zoom, but it means that you don't record if you don't have an internet connection. So there's plenty of local recording options, but I just haven't ever set it up. And so I was without internet for a good while here because I moved the modem from the apartment to the house earlier last week when I was getting the internet set up. So it's been almost a week now that I hadn't had it. Now we moved in formally to the house on Saturday, so I've had it for a couple of days, but I was so busy moving and unpacking and all of that stuff that I just haven't gotten around to catching up on the daily progress summary videos, even though I've been keeping track of the stuff that I've been doing. So I'm going to be catching up here tonight on the 16th, making all of the videos that I have put on hold here for a while. So all the way from November 9th, last week, to the 16th, which is today, I'm going to go ahead and do all the summaries of what I got done day by day. And so this will actually give you a fairly reasonable snapshot of everything that was involved in me moving from an apartment into a new house that I closed on, because that's most of the stuff that I've been involved in here the last week. So the first day that we're going to do here is going to be Tuesday, November 9th, 2021. And so from the perspective of Tuesday, what got done the day before on the 8th, which was a Monday. So I was setting stuff up on that Monday. I was texting the sprinkler guy, so the landscaping contractor who's going to do an additional zone of sprinklers in my yard. They're going to add them to the existing sprinkler setup that's already there. But I had to set up a time to meet with him. So I did that on Monday. I texted the builder superintendent to get a firm time for him to come and address some of the outstanding issues on the house. So a couple of minor paint things. There's some adhesive still on one of the doors, things like this, pretty minor, but I needed to set up a time for him as well to come unlock the house so that he could solve these things. I moved a good bit more of the non-big stuff, and by non-big, I mean not desks or beds or things like that, but clothes and boxes and kitchen stuff and all of that, and then did some unpacking this day. I also placed an Amazon order here. So all of these things that you see here, the facial cleanser for the shower, so that's what I use to help get myself clean for head and shoulders, and then pressure fit shower curtain rod to go in the non-master bathroom, the shower curtain, mounting hardware for the shower curtain, microwave covers for the microwaves to keep the microwaves cleaner, dish rack that can be seen over, so that'll go on the floating island in the house, a router set up with lots of Ethernet ports for once I get the Ethernet wired in the house, a table to stick the second microwave on, and then mesh sink baskets or strainers, one for each side of the sink. So a whole bunch of stuff that I did research and such on Monday to place this order. And all of these things I had shipped to the apartment since the shipping address for the house is still a little bit unstable at this point. Finally, I kept compressing the walkthrough footage for the house. I had probably all in all about an hour of 4K video, and it takes a while to compress it, especially given the fact that my computer isn't the fastest here. So that's what I was doing on Monday, November 8th. Now on Tuesday, I had those meetings that I'd set up there. I had met with the landscaping contractor to lay out the new plan for the sprinklers, and in particular, we were designing around a future fence line. So if I ever want to get a fence in the future, it kind of behooves you to think carefully about where you want to put the sprinklers in relation to that, because whether you use misters or rotors and how you angle them and all of these considerations are affected by the placement of the fence. And so we kind of designed around having a fence about 20 feet back from the street behind me. And I have a pretty sizable yard. I'm on 0.35 acres, which is larger than the median yard size of suburban houses, which is about a fifth of an acre, so 0.2, almost double actually. So I have a reasonably large backyard, and we mapped out where the fence would go were I to put one up, which I'm not at the moment because I don't need it. I don't have kids and I don't have a dog. And so for now, fences are expensive, and so I'm not going to do it until I need it, but I want the option to in the future. So that's what we did there. Also, working with the superintendent, let him into the house. We fixed things here, like the adhesive that I mentioned there, getting the tower rod in the master bathroom, painting over imperfections in the paint a couple places, and then the screen door misalignment on the back porch. Actually, even speaking today, so November 16th, this still isn't quite fixed. They've had issues. It actually expands. It's kind of funny. You'd think metal doesn't have this huge thermal expansion effect, but it only gets stuck when it's hot. And that means that there's evidently enough expansion in the materials that it means the tolerances bump into each other only when it's hot. So if it's in direct sunlight, all of these materials here are black metal. They do heat up quite a bit. But if it's cold, the door opens and closes just fine. It doesn't catch. So they'll have to keep doing this. I've been kind of bugging them about it for a week here, and no luck in all of that. So those were the meetings that I'd set up on the Monday. I actually had them on the Tuesday here on November 9th. Now, aside from that, I did more packing, moving, and then unloading of smaller stuff on this day. So a few trips here in the next couple of days, we're going to be clothes and kitchen stuff. That's probably the bulk of the things I have, and miscellaneous other things that ended up in the garage. But the other big meeting that I had today was getting the internet set up in the house. So this was the cable company. They came and ran a cable through the yard. They'll come and bury it in a couple of weeks. But this was just getting the cable wired. They got it set up in the house. They added the cable box over by the main circuit breaker for the house over next to my driveway. So this was getting the internet set up. They came and attached it to the modem, and then I checked it out and set up my router after they got the modem set up. And so that, of course, was a few hours today alongside the other meetings. I also had to go drive to the in-person store for the internet provider to get my old address canceled at the apartment because I'd moved my modem. And I don't know why you can't do it online. Seems kind of silly to me, but I had to go in person to do that and get the online access set up for the new address here. And finally, the last thing I did today, another practical thing, was I had a bunch of money wired to a local bank to do the closing on the house through a local bank, just because it's kind of safer. You have someone you can go talk to if anything goes wrong. Plus, all of the parties, so my mortgage lender, who's also local, and the builder, who's also local, had worked with a local bank. And so it went very smoothly because of that. But I had some extra money that I had in there just to be safe in case extra costs came up in closing. But I was going to wire it back to the primary bank that I use as Chase, just because that's where my direct deposit for work is. That's where I pay all my credit cards and bills and stuff. But I couldn't wire it. And it kept saying, oh, you've exceeded your limit. And so it turns out I went in to talk to the bank in person, and evidently you can only wire $2,500 a day out. And in fact, you can wire no more than $7,500 in a given month. And so I was a bit put out by that. Of course, bigger banks have no such restrictions. I guess it's to prevent people from wiping out the local money stores or whatever, so that they have capacity. I don't know all the reasons, but I was like, well, what happens if I transfer $50,000 into the bank? And then, if I ever want to take it out, does that mean I have to wait months to do it? And they shook their head and said, yep, that's what you'd have to do. And I was like, well, okay. But not a problem here. I mean, I don't have nearly that much. I gave myself a bit of a cushion. So I put quite a bit of money down on the house, but have, a good bit set in reserve here. So it's not, tens of thousands of dollars though. So I'm going to have to transfer it out a little bit, little by little here. But that's what I also had the errand here about. Why couldn't I transfer money from one bank to the other? So these were the things that I got done here on November 9th. And we will pick back up with the next day in just a second here.